What about cravings? How do we break those? Because those are huge for people.
Yeah.
And people get up in the morning and they're craving something, whether that's hormonal or they're used to eating or all sorts of different things. Like, how do you break that cycle?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite chapters, Crush the Cravings. Let me try to break it down real fast if I can about what a craving is. A craving is the body's desire to actually attain something, right? And so there's hunger and there are cravings. And this is the best way I can explain it to people. Hunger is like this. In your car, when you are low on oil, a light will come on and say, low on oil, add oil. Okay. And no matter how many times you turn your car on or off, that light is always going to come on until you put oil in the car, until you feed it oil, that light's going to stay there.
Hmm.
That's what hunger is. Hunger is going to stay there until you actually nourish the body and satisfy the physiological need to have nutrition, to have nourishment. Cravings are different. Cravings are temporary. In fact, research shows that most cravings can be outlasted. If you can withstand the 15 to 20 minutes, they will go away.
Hmm.
So here's a craving. A craving is you get into your car and on your dash or your module, it says to you, do you want to connect your Bluetooth? And you can click yes or no. And if you don't click those buttons, after a certain period of time, the prompt goes away.
Hmm.
It just goes away. You start driving, it goes away. That is what a craving is. If you don't respond to it over a period of time, it's going to actually go away. The key is, can you withstand those 15 to 20 minutes? Because cravings can be very intense for people. Now, why does it happen? It happens because of the pleasure reward pathway in our brain. So this is what happens. When you eat something, let's say I like cupcakes. I love a chocolate cupcake. When I eat a chocolate cupcake, it releases in my brain dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that goes between one nerve cell and the other. So I eat the chocolate cake, it releases, it floods my brain with this dopamine, this chemical. That chemical then travels to the front of my brain and it says, hey guys, let me tell you something. When Ian ate that chocolate cake, he really liked it. And so let's remember now that chocolate cake equals satisfaction. It's great pleasure. So now that my brain has that experience of releasing that dopamine, your brain always wants that dopamine to be released. So when I walk down the street and I walk by a bakery and I see that beautiful chocolate cupcake sitting in the window, you know what happens? The dopamine gets released into my brain, into my memory part, and it says, oh my goodness, you actually like that chocolate cupcake. You need to stop and get it, right? I now have a craving to get the chocolate cupcake because my brain has a memory that is very pleasurable to me. That is the difference between hunger and a craving. And so one of the ways to deal with a craving is either to outlast it. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can do that. And by the way, I also want to say, even when you think about the cupcake, you release dopamine. So you are either visually motivated you're visually prompted to release dopamine, or you think about it. So for some reason, you heard someone say cupcake behind you in line at Target, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, well, I love a cupcake right now. So that can release dopamine too, which makes you want to go and get it. Now, what happens is you can either outlast it, or you can actually eat something that's going to satisfy the craving. But in my book, I believe, eat something that is on the healthier side, that's not going to be just the sugar and a pastry. So that's why in the chapter, I give you some really simple things that you can do. If you crave salt, you crave sugar. For example, let's say you crave sugar and salt. You take watermelon with feta cheese. So you get the sweetness of the watermelon, but you also get the salty flavor of the feta cheese. And so in the book, on pages 121 and 122, I just give you some examples of these sayings. You want salty? Try dill pickles. Try turkey jerky, sesame seaweed snacks. These are things that, yeah, they have calories, but they also have other nutrients, and they're not full of empty calories.
Right.
They're good calories, and they're satisfying your craving at the same time.